Well, it's 9 o'clock, so we'll get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, everyone. We'll first take a look at the minutes from the last meeting that were sent out earlier look for approval.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Heiser, second by Commissioner Pelton to approve the minutes. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion carries. Approval of agenda. You have anything, Commissioner Heiser?
Yeah, we should discuss the resignation of our superintendent, road superintendent.
What was that, Al?
To talk about the resignation of our road superintendent.
Okay.
Dave?
No.
Craig?
No.
Bob?
I guess I'd like to just bring this up later. It's way that we did it back in 2014 on the man runs and stuff that we did.
The what? The vacation?
Well, it's just how we used to do the motions.
Oh, okay. Right. And I would just add that Holly, the tax director, asked for a few minutes. So we have time. We'll ask Holly to come in. Okay. So I'd look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Clayman, seconded by Commissioner Olson to approve the agenda as amended. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Hey, public comment. We have 3 individuals that asked to speak, to address the board. So first one that came in was Jim Friddle. So I'd ask him to come forward. See, he's not here yet. Okay. All right. Lynn Selly. There he is.
Bear with me, I've got a bad throat, but. Good morning, Dunn County Commissioners, members of Exterior Energy Resources, and fellow landowners involved in the wind project area. I am here to show my support for the wind project that will enable the production of wind energy to produce electricity for the use of serving the American people. This project will enable the landowners in the project area to realize extra income from their private property. Also, the extra tax income that will be generated for the tax rolls of Dunn County. We are aware of possible zoning changes to the present zoning spacing to come before the zoning commission, which with the intent of changes that could bring a halt to the project. At present, these spacings are being used in other counties with no negative results. The spacings for the oil field are used by other counties which are acceptable for oil production. Therefore, I ask why the exception on changing the zoning laws for Dunn County on the wind project. The impact of construction will bring in extra labor and income for the businesses in the area. Let this wind project on the eastern side of Dunn County help as the oil production on the western side of Dunn County has improved the county. Let the project help the county as well. So we ask for the best results for all of the wind project. Thank you, Lynn and Susan Selly.
Thank you, Lynn. Take your comments into consideration. And I should say that there's a moratorium right now while the zoning board is looking at some of these changes. So there will be more hearings and, or a hearing even before it goes into effect. So thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Marvin Berg? Oh, okay, he's coming in now. Just give me a few minutes here.
It's still much.
Such a hard time. She said she was. Morning, Marvin. You're up. Marvin, yeah, yep, yep. Hello,
Morning.
yeah.
What am I?
So
What's that?
you had asked to have public comment this morning?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, so yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm for the windmills, you know.
Okay,
It's gonna help the economy and it's gonna help us and I'm not getting paid for the wind now anyway, so.
yeah.
Yeah, it's for sale. They can
One-
have it.
one
I'm
way
for
to
it
look at
100%. That's about all I got to
Oh.
say.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for coming in.
Yep, thank you.
Yep. All right. Then we'll move on. Next item on the agenda is the engineer reports. So Carl. Civil science.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just a few updates today for you. Let's see. Yep. 92nd Avenue, we're just kind of waiting to see how that plays out this spring, and then we'll revisit that project at that time. 12th Street, we're just working through negotiating easements right now. I expect to have that wrapped up fairly soon, and tentatively looking at a April bid date possibly for that one. So that one's looking pretty good. 16th Street, we did get our permit secured this week, so that's good. Couple special conditions within that permit. We have to mitigate 6/10 of an acre from a approved mitigation bank, so I'll be reaching out to Ducks Unlimited to secure credit availability on that, and then bring that to you for approval. The project must also fence off and provide cultural monitoring during construction near the cultural site on the project, which we're really close to the site, so I think that's a pretty acceptable condition for the project. We'll start obtaining those easements here soon as well and get those negotiations going. I do anticipate that as a 2026 project.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Donuts next time, yes.
Answer it.
Oh.
By lunch, yeah.
20th Street, we're working on the final design. We do have some wetland disturbance on that. We're working through We're also still working through the existing road easements from 1961 that there's just a little issue with there. Then we'll be reaching out, putting together some drawings for the state's attorney's office so they can fully understand what the issue is and give us comment on that, on how to proceed there. This could possibly be a 26 project. 86th and 9th, just kind of going through our final design and doing what we can to avoid the many cultural sites along that project. 98th, working through permit application, should be submitting that fairly soon. There's possibility for that one as well within the 26 timeline. The new projects, we've completed all the field surveys and we're just working through our preliminary grading plans right now and doing our drainage analysis. So, any questions on any of those projects?
Carl, which ones you think are gonna be really close to be bidding this, I mean,
12th and 16th
Okay.
are getting real close. That 92nd Avenue, I mean, you know, the issue there, that one could
Right.
go as soon as it could, if we
Okay.
needed to, so. And then I put 20th and 98th Avenue, as kind of in reserve. Probably mid-year.
thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
Hello, Darren.
Morning.
Morning.
Got some updates for you all as well. Start with 119th. Madam Chairman, you've probably seen equipment moving in out there.
There's been a little.
Correct. So CSI is in the process of moving equipment in. They're trying to get equipment in before haul restrictions are employed. So they're looking at the weather before committing to a start date, but at least we're seeing some action out there. So that's good. For 99th, I just have that on there as a placeholder. As you recall, the grading was finished. They're just waiting for spring here so they can place the topsoil and get the seeding finished. And the county is going to provide the surfacing on that. Manning's a little more current, so the contracts for the waterline improvement project are being compiled by JK Excavation in the amount of $1,500,300.00. Once all the documentation's been received, contracts will be signed, and then a pre-construction meeting will be coordinated and arranged. I know there was a question about some insurance for.
Yes, I got a call from the contractor. It was builder's risk insurance.
Yep.
And he was wondering, builder's risk insurance, putting water lines in and.
And I dug into that, Commissioner Heiser, to see what the deal was. So Southwest Pipeline requires, what it covers is, say like frack water, a spill that goes in there, or say like a diesel spill. That's one of the things the state requires Southwest to have. I talked with Southwest about that. It sounds like they would, my concern was if we eliminated that Southwest wouldn't want to assume the responsibility of the line, which is kind of the whole intent of this project. They are okay with removing that. So we told the contractor if he wants it removed, then that cost saving should be passed on to the county.
Right.
So that's where we're at right now.
And I think that pollution one was already taken out,
Okay,
as I know. Thank you.
sure. Any further questions on those projects? Okay, so for 2025 projects, so for 7th Street Southwest, 101st to 97th, we're still working with the one remaining landowner out there. He's wanting kind of a pet project of his done. He actually sent me a text just last night and said that he wants to have a meeting with Commissioner Heiser. Is that you?
Greg and I wonder if
Okay.
this will be available.
So you guys know what the deal is out there, but that's where we're at on that. Otherwise, we have all the other right of way secured. I don't think if that item can be worked through, I think we'll be able to secure that and then proceed with bidding the project. So
I think we should do that as soon as we can because our contractors are really looking for work. So any project we can get to the bid table.
I agree.
We gotta wait for him to get back from vacation, I think.
Well, he's a tough one to track down too, and I know that just from experience too. But yeah, no, we're all on board with you. We'd like to get that off our plate too. So. So for 3rd Street, well, let me back up. Any more questions on that? I think we're good. Okay, so for 3rd Street Southwest, it's our understanding again that the intent is for this one to be built in 2027. So we've been focusing on our 7th projects here. We'll still kind of, once time allows, we'll begin collecting right away on that, but we're not too aggressive on that. We filed for the extension on the core permit. to coincide for 2027 construction. So our next one, we got some good news. I know Carl kind of stole my thunder because I saw he got a core permit too, but we were actually able to secure that core permit after some back and forth with SHPO. So they agreed to the same terms that we did on 99th. This is significantly smaller area though. We're talking about, probably about 150 feet by maybe 30 feet area that they'll require fabric being put down, well, being fenced off, fabric being put down and fill being placed up on top of it, and require Beaver Creek to do the cultural monitoring, just like what we did on 99th. But we're glad to work through that one too. We were kind of worried that they're going to require additional survey stuff. So it's good to have that one off. Now that that's going to be completed and we have the core permit, we could go forward and, depending on when you wanted to build that one, if you were looking at maybe trying to do something 2026, we could hit it pretty hard, or if it's not quite as much of a concern, we can do whatever the commission desires.
My, my feeling is, I think every project we can get to bid, the sooner the better. Because if we get them pushed out too far, then the contractors are looking for, right now, the contractors are really looking for, we can get some really good contract numbers. So I think early bird gets the worm.
I'll get after it. I'll take that as a go ahead.
And one other, meant to mention you, I know you're working on a project with some right issues. I had a landowner contact me last night. So if we get a break today, if you could stick around, I'd like to
Sure.
visit with you about that.
Yeah, be happy to.
you.
Okay, yep, you bet. Any other things on the 2025s? So, and then for 2026, we're kind of still at that stalemate here. I'd gotten a hold of and sent some texts with the one remaining landowner that, she let us out there and did all our survey work, so we have survey data, but very apprehensive regarding cultural surveys and has been non-responsive. Terry did reach out and got one response, and then now she went quiet on Terry too. So the next step is to get one of the commissioners involved. Tracy, I know you have some connections there too,
Can
but
visit with you.
sure, more than happy to. And that is all I have, unless you have anything further of me. Stick around. and talk to.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Darren. Jeremy.
Good morning. I think
Hey,
my,
good
Morning.
report can be pretty brief today. Construction projects, the only real update is the 103rd Avenue project that was bid, at the last meeting. We're trying to get a pre-construction meeting set up for the end of this month. Schwartz is, looking at starting as soon as the weather allows, whether that's 2 or 3 weeks or a month. We don't really know, but we're definitely want to get ahead of them. So we've, trying to get that one going as soon as we can, so they can get started as soon as the weather allows them to. Design projects, 114th Avenue. Tentatively, we're looking at an April bid opening for the last 2.5 mile section of 114th. We're really just down to one easement on that project, but we'd be ready for an April bid opening on that project. Another project that we don't really talk about a whole lot, we've kind of worked on it as time permits, but it would be that 92nd Avenue box culvert project that kind of has a little bit of a history with the project. We had applied for flex funding through the DOT, I think 2.5 years ago. Got some partial funding for the engineering. We also applied for funding for the construction phase of it at the last flex fund application. We did not receive any money for that project, but in the meantime, we've kept up with the design, and we think we're pretty close to a bid opening. So we could get that ready for April bid opening if the commission wants to, and I kind of get the sense it's bid anything that's ready. So if the consensus is go to bid, we'll bid that in April.
Agree.
Okay. Okay. Other than that, that's all I really had for updates. Pretty brief today.
Thanks,
Okay.
Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy.
I got one question for Jeremy. You looked at that walking path, didn't you, from the school down?
Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion of that? I drove it last 6 times. Is that gonna be a big snow trap?
Well, I would say, possibly, when we designed that road, we didn't necessarily design it for a walking path. But I will say it's probably going to be fairly easy. I can't imagine there's a whole lot of people are going to be using it right after a snowstorm. So, and I think the maintenance is going to be pretty easy. I'm not aware of any rules as far as lighting of the walking path.
That's up to the.
Yeah, I mean, put it this way, I don't know of a condition of the potential grant money that would have to be lighted.
I just seen a lot of walking paths, they got lights.
Right, I don't think it's a condition. If that's something the city or county wanted to do, I guess I'm not even sure if that would be a participating item for it. But as going back to your earlier comment about whether it's a snow trap, we haven't done any of the design. We have some approximate ideas where it would go. Whether it's in the ditch bottom or up on the potential inslope or back slope, we don't really know that yet.
Yeah, the only reason I drove it, I see there's a lot of fences are,
Mm-hmm.
no, it piled over the fences, the fences are broken. That's the reason I'm wondering.
Yep. We don't even know if it's better to be on the north side of, I think that's Third perhaps, or the south side. So I mean, we're very early in the process, and all we've really done is apply for the grant. All those design details are going to come later.
I was just wondering because I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, no, those are good comments. Details that, quite frankly, with the lighting, we haven't even thought of yet.
Jeremy, do you know when the grants, people that were selected, going to be awarded? Don't have any idea? Or
At one time, when we sent in the application, which was towards the end of the year, I thought they said it would be sometime in spring. And I'm not sure if that's March or April or when that would be, but I would like to think it's going to be fairly soon. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Mike, up for.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Good, good.
Good.
No utility permits. I don't think Terry had any. We're about done hauling scoria. We got the guys hauling pit run from Steckler Pit up to 7th Street, up the Harris Road. They're gonna be working on that. We've got 1,000 yards to haul up there. Got a few blades out today, weather permitting. Trying to find a little water, unbelievable, but trying to find water to put on the roads. And that is about it. We're planning on maybe the next couple of weeks, probably trying to start to tar and maybe get a jump on that. But other than that, that's it. And yeah.
So Mike brought in the bids from the contractor bids from our last meeting. So we would need to accept them. And before we just sent them to.
yeah,
And Lori will, put them in a spreadsheet form, so it's easy to determine what the prices are and. So,
Madam Chairman, I'd move to accept the bids we received for the road department.
so we have make chloride and we have equipment bids.
Fencing.
Hauling, trucking bids, basically. Fencing and crushing, so. Your motion is
Yep.
to accept all the bids, okay?
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Pelton, seconded by Commissioner Heiser to accept all the contractor bids as presented. Any further discussion? Hey, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. So I'll get these signed
Okay.
and, do we want to, go ahead with the discussion on the resignation of the road superintendent?
It's correct. If you want to take it, it's up to you.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many, but Terry has resigned. He's given us a letter and resignation, and I'd move that we go ahead and accept his letter of resignation.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Pelton, seconded by Commissioner Heiser to accept Harry Schwarzenberger's letter of resignation as our road superintendent. Any discussion? I would just like to thank Terry for his service. He'd been with the county for many years.
25.
25 years. And sure we'll miss his, being part of our county team. So I just want to thank him for his time with us.
And likewise, I too like to thank him for his years of service. He'll be missed, and hope his new endeavors take him where he wants to go.
Right, so there's a motion on the table. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Okay, so I guess our next duty.
Okay, well, here, I'd like to make a motion to approve Mike Carey as our interim road superintendent.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Heiser, second by Commissioner Pelton to appoint Mike Carey, the assistant road superintendent, as our interim road superintendent. Any further discussion?
I'd like to make a comment too for, I mean, it goes along with what we're doing is that our engineers that are in our room, I would like you to now send a correspondence to Mike and CC Craig and I. So if Mike's got any questions, we can just help him out. So along with that.
Mike, do you have anything you, sure.
I'll do my best to fill in, but they're big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, appreciate you, willing to take this on, so. As far as, the wages, do we need to approve that right now?
I think he said he's okay with where he's at right now,
Yeah.
so.
We can have further discussion about that.
Fine.
So, okay.
Thanks for stepping up.
Yep, yep.
Yep.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
You'll do a great job, Mike.
Thanks.
Yep.
Yep,
Thank you.
take care. Oh, yes, we do. Motion, all in favor of appointing Mike as our road superintendent, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Great. Get. Okay, Holly. Good morning.
Good morning,
Holly.
Commission. I just wanted to take a few minutes and introduce our new employee, Teresa Dvorak here. Teresa, come on up. She just started this Monday. She is actually getting in full force and starting with some of her education courses right now
Mhm.
as I'm working on our sales ratio. She got to visit Dodge and Halliday with me this week, helping with the exemptions. So I have visited all of our cities, including the city of Killdeer. Not as many people have showed up this year, so hopefully the word is getting out that we are helping. And I know that the auditor's office and the treasurer, they are helping diligently with our new computer up at the desk, helping with that primary resident credit. So I expect a lot more applications that I will have to approve when I get them from the state this year. So I
Great.
just want to thank you all for your support and introduce Teresa, and she'll be working beside me now.
Great. Super.
Welcome, welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard.
Glad to have you. Thanks, Teresa.
You got a good teacher right there. She'll help you.
I'm gonna try. Thank you, guys.
Yep,
Thanks.
yeah, thank you. It's probably not here yet, so, Bob, you had mentioned, that form you were,
Back in 2014, we were gonna start this, I don't know whatever happened to it. But any of the motions and stuff like, that there one there's for vacation pay,
mhm,
and it was all typed out. And we should have a book that we put this in, so we can go back and find out what actually we did, you know, that the commissioners did. And back, we started it and I don't know what, I only got this copy. I don't know whatever happened to the other ones. There was 3 or 4 of them that I talked to Mr. Reinhardt about it and he said, I don't know whatever happened. So I don't know if you've ever seen them before or not, but we started.
Is it for all of just the resolutions?
Yep.
Bob? Yep, we do have the resolutions. We could put them in a book. I have them digitally.
Is that, we have that so we can go look at it and find out like.
Mhm.
what-
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I've never seen it. That one, how it showed up in my file, I don't know.
You see this? Craig? Good.
I'm just glad you were going through things.
Yep, yep, there you go. Utility permits. Sally can take a look at that.
I made a
Mhm.
copy.
Hey, school bond grant applications, Sally?
All right, so every year in the past, we've done the school bond grant for paying down bonds and sinking interest. We did add 5 million to the budget this year for that program. And I just would like approval. Do you guys want to go ahead with that this year? If so, I can send out the applications. Each school is required to fill out an application and let us know what they will be using that money for. So there is a process to that, but I just want to know if you guys are still wanting to move forward with that so I can move forward with the process.
Madam Chairman, I move that we move ahead with the school bond grant application, the sum of 5 million.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Pelton, second by Commissioner Olson to move forward with the school bond grant applications in the amount of $5 million. Any questions? I guess just for clarification, for those of you that may be wondering about this, it's based on a report of average daily attendance that each school sends into the North Dakota Treasurer, and it's prorated for Dunn County students. So Dickinson has roughly 50 students, and so we prorate the $5 million based on the Dunn County students to those schools that have sinking in interest bonds for construction. So we're looking at Beulah, Richardson, South Hart, Dickinson, and Killdeer. Is that?
Yep,
Yeah.
I think that's it.
So they each get a portion of that 5 million based on the Dunn County students in their system. And that's because of the land their district comes into Dunn County with, so. Any other discussion? Okay, we'll have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Heiser?
Yes.
Commissioner Olson?
Yes.
Commissioner Pelton?
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dalzell?
Yes, the motion carries. And want to take a look at the vouchers right now? Yep.
Yeah. Madam Chairman, I move to go ahead and approve the vouchers as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Pelton, seconded by Commissioner Heiser to approve the vouchers as presented. Any discussion? Okay, we'll have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Heiser?
Yes.
Commissioner Olson?
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Pelton? Commissioner Kleeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dalzell?
Yes. Motion carries. Sign, should we take a 10-minute break quick, roughly? Did she sign for Mike?
She don't make motions.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but she shares nicely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh. So wanted to come
Thank you.
and we wanted to come and update you on progress we've made with our addition to our CARES, our school building. And of course, we had to come and peddle our cookies. And it's getting on towards the rodeo season for us. And so you also have tickets to the rodeo. So bring your friends, bring your buddies, bring your spouses, whatever. And come out and enjoy a great show. So here, it's just a real brief update on what we've been up to. We came and spoke to you all, I don't even know when, probably November, December, and talked about the CARES edition that we're doing to our school. We started Badlands Learning Center in June 3rd, 2024, because our kids just weren't making it in public school. Nothing against the school staff, but our kids are only staying 4 months. And so at Beach Public School, kids have to stay a full semester to gain credit. And that it just wasn't happening. And certainly our kids are at risk and traumatized and carry with them all of the behaviors and things that make that challenging in a public school. So on June 3rd, we opened Badlands Learning Center in 24. And we were really hopeful it would be as successful as we wanted it to be, but really it blew the doors off of how successful it is. And so we wanted to be real mindful and do a year and see what we needed, if what we had adapted in our building would be doable for the foreseeable future. And so when we look at the last, and if we just break out 2025, I brought the stats. We've served 65 students in 25. They've passed 158 classes, earned 79 credits, and every youth who came through our doors in 2025 left with credits. And that is astounding when you look at our population of kids who don't have school success. They spend a lot of their time suspended. Some have been expelled. They don't like school. They're not successful in school. They don't belong in school. They don't fit in. And so for them to come here and earn credit and have some success and take that back into their home communities with them, it's incredible. We've had 27 GED tests passed, and 6 kids in 25 earned their GED. And these are 6 kids who would not have gone back to school when they left us. And so they left us with their GED. Lots of them have left with certificates. So once kids earn their GEDs with us or graduate, because we can graduate kids also, they can take certification courses. We had one young man who really enjoyed construction. And at the time we were doing some remodeling. And so he worked with Greg on the work crew and learned about sheetrocking and running wire and texturing and taping and all those terrible things that my husband won't do. And he took certification courses at the school. And so when he left us, he had his GED, he had job experience, and he had 5 certifications in different courses. So that's also been very successful. So the total of the project that we came and visited with you about was 3.2 million. So far we've raised 2 million. We're still working on it. We have requests out, grants, and have spoken to individuals, and we're hopeful to acquire this last million. We're looking at breaking ground depending on the weather. I don't know what kind of winter this is, but I'm sure happy with it. Either in April or May, depending on. And we should be done with construction and everything in December and moved in and ready to go for January classes. So it's been very exciting. If we look at the next one, you can see, oh, can we go back to that one? There we go. Nope. Yep. So just to fill. It was we revamped one classroom that we had in our care. 2 classrooms and there's a lot of drama that can travel over bookshelves and those kinds of interesting fun things. So we have learned that that was doable, I guess, for the time, but now separate this hallway will be all of this classroom, commons, and a living skills lab, so it'll have a kitchen in it, so normal size stoves and those kinds of things. Our kids right now industrial section of it. Have a learning lab, have an outdoor learning patio where they summer with the flowers and those kinds of added learning commons. So all things I'm rewriting. We're very excited about it. It'll match nicely. Quite the project, but we're very excited about it. So that's kind of the update there. And what's the next one? I was having fun with the graphics yesterday. Yeah, so that's where we're at. All of our courses are taken with North Dakota Center for Distance Ed, so they're all online at the kids' own pace. Yeah, they're kind of hard on equipment, but we're working with that and getting it figured out. We've got a special education teacher and several paras in the room, and then our director of education that run the schools. So yeah, that's kind of the update. Just wanted to come and express our appreciation for your supports in the last years and give you a little thank you cookie and rodeo ticket. So yeah. Any questions?
You know, I really think this is a great program. Any kid that we can take in and rehabilitate, put them back into society and be productive, because as we all know, there's lots of people out there that are unproductive. So every one more we can put on society is a great thing. So thank you for all your hard work and what you give these kids a second chance to succeed.
Yeah, it's fun. We follow the kids at least 6 months post-discharge. And so, you know, because it's hard, because in the facility, things are much different than on the outs, right? But we have folks that are aftercare specialists that follow them and help them with job interviews or make sure that the transition to school is as smooth as it can be, doing crisis intervention when they have a fight with their mom, all those kinds of things too. So we get to watch some of that transition and help them out that way too.
So you are still doing some fundraising.
Mhm.
but- okay. Is the project already bid out, or is that
Yep, it's all been
Ready
bid.
to-
Yep, everything is set to go. So now we're just gonna stick a shovel in the ground and
Yeah. Any more discussion? Go ahead.
Are we looking to help with funds? I guess I'm not sure even where to start. I mean, I'm in favor for the project. I just help from the rest of the board, what you guys are thinking.
I really just came to say thank you
Mhm.
and
Yeah, 'cause I think you've filled out the application before, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it gets in trouble, come see us.
okay.
Well, thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
for
Thank you
the
guys.
update.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
What's that?
And you can come back monthly.
I understand that it's not me that you want back.
Okay.
But the cookies are a good bonus, aren't they?
Yep. Thanks, Laura.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Right, is Steve online? Steve Kemp? Kemp? Yeah.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, good morning, Steve. Floor is yours.
Thank you, commissioners, for allowing me to present remotely. I had some car issues, so we were down to one car, so I apologize for not being there in person. I'm Steve Kemp, fellow commissioner from Williams County, but in this case, I'm presenting to you as a company called Hydrobind, which is a startup of mine. I am applying for a USDA Small Business Innovation Research Phase 1 grant of $175,000. I'm here to ask you for a letter of support. And the reason that I think it might be interesting to you is that two of the products that I'll be making with this research is, or have the ability to make with this research, is calcium chloride and magnesium chloride, which are, I believe, commonly used products for dust control in your county in particular. One of the two or both. And so it is a way to extract calcium chloride and magnesium chloride from produced water. And you may have heard of a company called Wellspring Hydro. That's another company I founded, and we did extract lithium for the first time from produced water right there in Dunn County. And so that was a North Dakota first. And the idea behind this new company that I've started is to provide technology to feed to Wellspring Hydro or to any other company that would like to extract these products from produced water or other waste streams. There are three other products that I would like to create from produced water, one of which is ammonium, extracting ammonium from the water, and potassium and boron, and those are precursors for fertilizers. So we can make ammonium, anhydrous ammonia, or ammonium chloride to be used directly as fertilizer for the ag community. Potassium could be turned into potash or potassium chloride, and which is used very frequently in North Dakota, and 90% of which is imported from Canada. And then boron, which I didn't know much about prior to doing this research, but it's a micronutrient. It's used in fertigation, often in fields that are irrigated. The boron gets washed out of the soil, and it prevents plants from uptaking nitrogen. So all of these things are in plenty in our produced water. And my goal is to try to do something useful with produced water, expanding our original portfolio of just taking the lithium out of the water to now doing county-focused and ag-focused products that will support our region. All of the calcium chloride and mag chloride come from a minimum of 750 miles away and as far as 1,500 miles away. So, instead of importing these products into our state, why don't we make them right here? So that's sort of it in a nutshell. Not requesting any county funds, no ongoing commitment. I did present this to McKinsey and Montreal as well. They both have agreed to sign and have already provided letters of support. This is a small startup. I literally am doing this in my shop with North Dakota DEQ support in my backyard. So it's a small scale lab. I've got a geneticist and a scientific data analyst working for me, and myself, of course, and we're hoping to get a USDA SBIR grant to help further our research and continue this venture. I'd love to answer any questions if you had any.
Any questions to the board?
I'd be in favor of letter of support if we could get the number of mag that we use in our roads to help support that. I think we use thousands of gallons. I know we're trying some new products, but I think if what we do use, if we could get it locally, would sure help.
Sure, yeah. Well, I think it's a kind of an exciting project, and especially being able to use that from our own wastewater. And so is that a motion for the letter?
Okay, I'll make a motion, letter of support for the grant.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Heiser, second by Commissioner Pelton, to approve doing a letter of support for the grant for name Hydrobind. Okay.
Yes.
I can't see without my glasses. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Steve. And
Yes.
do you have a template
Yes.
for the, okay. If you would
Yeah, I
send
sent
that.
that along. Yeah,
Okay.
it's, yeah, Sally's got it. So,
Okay. Sounds good. Well, thank you very much.
yes,
Good luck.
thank you so much. Very much
Yeah.
appreciated.
Good luck with it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye-bye.
now. Where are we on our agenda? Dalton Pearson with Next Era Wind Tower Project. So you've been sitting here a long time.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just have this up so I don't have to crane my neck, and keep my spot.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for having me here today. I appreciate it. And thank you, Sally, for getting me on the agenda for today. My name is Dalton Pearson. I'm with NextEra Energy Resources. I'm a project manager. I've been coming up to North Dakota for almost 3 years now, since April of 2023. So I would like to start off and just introduce NextEra Energy Resources as a company, if you haven't heard of us before. So we operate in 42 states across the United States, and we are an energy infrastructure development company, and that can range from anything from wind projects, like we'd be talking about today, battery storage, solar. We do natural gas as well. We have operating nuclear plants and some transmission or pipeline assets across the United States. So for North Dakota, we've been in the state for over 20 years now. Our first foray into the state was in the early 2000s. That would have been North Dakota Wind 1 and 2. Those are about 45 minutes south of Jamestown by the Edgeley-Colm area, and they're still in operation today. They celebrated their 22nd year anniversary at this point. In addition to that, since that date, we have 16 projects operating for wind across the state of North Dakota. They range anywhere from the farthest northeast regions up reaches up by Langdon, all the way over here south in Stark County, and some others speckled throughout the state. We do have 5 currently in development and later stages right now, and we do have some battery energy storage projects that we're starting to develop here in the state. We actually just had PSC permitting for our first 2 battery energy storage projects throughout the state, and those should be operational by the end of this year. So since we've been in the state, as a capital investment, it's been $3.7 billion. And with that, our projects are voluntary with landowners. So annual payments to those landowners at this point in time, I think these numbers are from 2024, $8.7 million a year. And with these projects comes tax benefits to the counties, $6.6 million annually across all our projects across the state. 1,784 megawatts across the state right now. To put it in perspective, what we're looking at here in Dunn County is about 300. So we'll move on to the next slide. So the project I'm here to talk about today is known as Blizzard Wind. This project is coming up on about a year since we first started looking in the area. Right now, we're looking at a 300 megawatt wind project. Interconnection plan this year. In basic terms, interconnection is just allowing power to go onto the grid. That would be studied by your regional transmission operator, an SPP, and they look at things like power flow models to make sure this power can go onto the grid and not cause any harm and inject the power there. So for the location of this project, we are on the south central eastern side of the county, butting up against the Mercer County borderline there. We're about 2.5 miles south of Halliday, and Dodge is also within the proximity to the project. So right now at 300 megawatts, standard turbine technology we've used more recently in North Dakota has been 2.82 megawatt turbines each. So if we were to be at 300 megawatts for this project, this is all subject to change, but we would be looking at about 107. So typically turbines, when sited, including roads, take up about an acre of land. So in total, while the boundary looks big, use of land would be limited to about an acre per turbine, depending on how many we use. So commercial operations date, I did mention interconnection. That can be a long lead time for these projects, that including permitting through the state and county. But we've been seeing about a 3 to 5 year turnaround on those completions, those study completions, and getting an agreement to put power on the grid. So that's why there's a range there that's subject to change, and just want, at the earliest, we would be looking at a 2029 operational date. Move on to the next slide. So with that is the timeline. So currently where we are right now is within the diligencing and land effort stages of the projects. With that, we engage local landowners within the project boundary, some surrounding. They're presented with an offer and they can sign an option agreement with us to be a part of the project. It's all completely voluntary. Once we do secure enough land to make a project viable, then we would go into the diligencing stage or continue with the diligencing stage and conduct all studies necessary for both the county level and state permitting in North Dakota. So we go through permitting and then we get to construction. So construction we've seen, or it's been standard for a long time now for wind projects. We can put up projects within the calendar year. They're going to be operational. So for example, say we started when we could and there was thaw, we could start in April and have a project commissioned and operating by the end of that same year. So we'll move on. So we'll start with some landowner benefits. So it can be supplemental to farming and ranching operations. There is monetary value that comes along to landowners who sign with our projects. It is voluntary. They can say no, they can say yes. It is all up to them, and it would take a vast majority of landowners and large sections of land to make a project viable. Going back to the sizing of a turbine at about an acre, it doesn't impede on farming or ranching operations. All the way up to our turbine access roads and the footprint of an actual turbine itself. Farming and ranching is perfectly allowable and encouraged. So in addition to that, increasing local spending for goods and services that would come during the construction period of the project, and we get into that a little bit later on. There'd be a large influx of construction jobs and then some operational jobs after, which will stay in the community. Road improvements as well. There's a lot of heavy equipment that can be needed or is needed for these projects. So roadways have to be sometimes improved. They'll be surveyed beforehand and then surveyed afterhand and left in the same condition or in better condition than when we found them. We'll move on to the next slide. So like I mentioned, kind of coinciding with the land leasing process, right now we're in the diligence process. When you have land, you do have to have environmental studies, engineering, as well as some federal diligencing with the FAA and DOD. So environmental, we would need access to the landowners' parcels of land within the project, also some surrounding land. We would do avian assessments, bat assessments here, acoustic surveys, endangered species, wetland delineations, and archaeological as well for engineering evaluation. Design suitability, understanding with our resource modeling, which we have a whole team for internally, where the wind is, where we would be best positioned to capture the wind in the project boundary most efficiently. And that would go into where the turbines are sited. And that comes a little bit later in the process. So for FAA and DOD, there's a lot of military training routes, especially throughout the Midwest of the country. North Dakota is not an exception. The FAA would have to issue a designation of no hazard so that we are not impeding on military training routes or NORAD radar buffers. Those things are also considered by them. And finally, tribal is a big part of North Dakota. We do have an entire tribal team that is dedicated to outreach as well as bringing them alongside us as we survey where we're going to place turbines and identifying any potential sensitive sites. So we'll move on. So North Dakota has both state and local permitting. So for the state level, it'd be a certificate of site compatibility. That's required for anything larger than 50 megawatts, which this would fall under. It includes exclusion areas, avoidance areas, and decommissioning requirements. So exclusion areas, think of those as setbacks that the state has implemented in their own requirements in the Century Code. In addition to avoidance areas, think of state parks, natural parks, wetlands. That's something that we have to adhere to at the state level. Local, typically, in Dunn County's case, it'd be a conditional use permit. There could be building permits that would be required for, say, a substation or an operations and maintenance facility where full-time employees would work out of to maintain the project after operation. And then road use and haul route, as mentioned before, whether that's township roads, county roads, state roads, haul routes or road use agreements will have to be put in place before we even begin construction. So going back to constructions and operations, like I said, 9 to 12 months, we can usually do it in an entire season. Right now, we had a preliminary economic impact analysis done by a third party, Strategic Economic Resources. At the low end, it's 200 plus construction jobs. Again, with the road improvements and repairs. And during this, there's a lot of moving parts. There's big equipment coming through. There's crane walks. Crop compensation is something that we have in place in our agreements with landowners to make sure if crops are damaged or unable to be planted for some reason during construction, they would be paid fair market value for those crops. So once we get to operations in that 2029 to 2031 timeframe, at the low end, 5+ full-time jobs. These would be your wind site technicians, the guys who are climbing, maintaining, doing any work needed to keep the site operational. Weekly maintenance is weekly, but it is an everyday thing. And in addition to that, for all our projects across the United States, we have a 24/7 remote operations control center that's housed at our headquarters down in Juno Beach, Florida. They can see projects for all the way across the United States, whether it's here, whether it's Texas, whether it's in California. They can determine if there's a fault, an issue with the project. They can shut it down remotely. They can send notice to on-the-ground workers who work at the site full-time and address the issues there. And we'll continue. So this is part of the third-party economic analysis we had run. Once the project's operational, on a yearly basis, this analysis includes both state and local tax law and other variables that may impact how taxes are paid out. So at the low end, we're looking at $1.3 million per year for the county, about $33 million over the project's lifespan, which in this case I should mention was modeled as 25 years, although we have projects that go longer than that and that they can be repowered and continue operations much past that date. The project total at 300 megawatts would be about $760 million of capital investment in the county. And going back to construction jobs, 200 plus during that time frame, and operational jobs of 5+. So construction jobs, it's a lot of people coming into the community. Could be a benefit to local business owners, the local gas station, hotels. They have to sleep and eat and be in the community for quite some time. And with that, I'm wrapping up. I appreciate the time here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions?
I'm sure I have a few questions. And these questions will be posed to me. Do you make the landowners that sign a disclosure statement?
Our agreements are confidential between landowners and the company. Yes.
Okay. And then one other question, they call the big beautiful bill. Do the tax credits actually end if it's not constructed by 12/31 of 27?
There is a scale of tax credits currently going away, but we've worked through both administrations, whether that was Trump's first term, Biden's term recently. So we do anticipate to keep working on this project.
One other quick question. I know NextAir was on the news last night about data center in Mercer County. Were you involved with that or?
I'm personally not working on that project. I'm working on the wind side of things in early stages. I'm not involved with it, so I can't speak to that project.
Okay, I just seen it come up on the news last
I
night.
did
So just question, so.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming in and kind of going through your, oh,
I've got a couple questions. Now, you guys are, say you're moving in towers and stuff and it's in the summertime and there's dust and stuff.
talk to you.
You do dust control. You take care of the dust?
Yes, sir.
Because of cattle, I mean, I've seen cattle die from dust and that's what I want to know. Secondly, what happens if this thing goes under, who takes care of the towers?
In the case of
You just leave.
if we weren't, so for example, in the case of, we've been around for over 100 years, but if the company was to go away, the state already requires decommissioning plans. That can be in the form of many different financial sureties, letter of credits, bonds, parent guarantees. That's required pre-construction to a certain level and then at operations. A project cannot enter construction without a decommissioning plan in place with the state.
Now, what would happen if a landowner ended up with it? Do you have to take it down? You responsible for it?
No, the landowner should not be responsible.
Is that in your contract?
I don't believe so, no.
Is it? Okay. But, that's one thing that concerns me. Had a couple more questions, but I didn't write them down, so I don't remember what they were.
One comment to your, when we're working through our regs and stuff, there is a decommissioning clause in there. It's if you tear out the footings, you got to be 4 foot below.
Yep.
And I think as far as the bond goes, it escalates with inflation
Mhm.
as time goes on. So I think it's covered, by a bond.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, as of,
I hope that answers your question. And it's in our regulations too.
That's all in the
Yeah.
contract. That when they sign these contracts, I think you need to be look really closely at by a lawyer to make sure that.
yeah, and we encourage our landowners to take it to an attorney. We reimburse those fees to go through, and we're happy to do negotiations and make sure landowners are happy with what they see in there and that an attorney can confirm that with
So in other words, not everybody's getting paid the same then if they gotta keep quiet, huh?
them.
I went to oil field and I know how that works.
I can't speak specifically to every single agreement. There can be changes, but I would like to keep everything similar and fair to every landowner. Typically, our payments are on a capacity installed for a turbine. So the payment would not be based on revenue. It would be a guaranteed amount every year. It could be paid for capacity of a turbine installed, or it could be paid for acreage within the permitted boundary of the project.
Is there what's the deal like if one goes, you pay by every windmill, right?
Yes, if there's a windmill, a wind turbine on your property, you would receive compensation for it.
Okay, and say something happens to it where you can't get it fixed right away. Do they still get paid?
They would still get paid. Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you for coming in and
Thank you.
kind of
Yep, thank
giving
you.
us
Appreciate the time.
update on the project. Thanks. Bessie.
Good morning,
Hello.
commissioners.
Hello.
I did place a copy of the policy changes at your chairs. It was emailed out a couple of weeks ago. We, as the policy committee, were asked by the board to go back and look at our bereavement leave. The request of the board was for that bereavement policy to apply to immediate family only. So you'll see on your paperwork there, it was quite a simple change. We made one change in the first paragraph and a change in the second paragraph, just removing some of that language that extended the policy beyond immediate family. So does anybody have any questions on that?
No, I don't believe so. It's pretty straightforward.
Right. I'm not certain if you want to do these as a whole, both of them together or separately.
Madam Chairman, I'd move to accept the bereavement policy changes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Pelton, seconded by Commissioner Iser.
It'll be a first reading.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. To accept the first reading policy changes to the bereavement policy. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
The second policy that you were provided was making an adjustment to our Friday holiday language in policy. And this goes back to their at Christmas and New Year's just passed. There were some changes made by the board on how that would be applied to the road department. In an effort to remain consistent, the policy committee did address Friday holidays. And what is being presented to the board today would be to change that language to when a holiday is observed on a Friday, the road department would close at noon on that Thursday.
I have some serious questions about this here. I think I had discussions with you yesterday, Desi. I think this, you need to take some of our concerns back to the drawing board and redo this motion because I'm not in favor of the way it's written. I don't, it's just, doesn't add up to me. So, and we had them discussions yesterday, and I think that rather than get into it now, I think you just need to take, and Craig, maybe you can speak up too, and we visited briefly this morning about that. Our work schedules are totally different, our work hours, so I think we need to go back to the drawing board.
So when this policy first went into effect, it was based on when a holiday is observed on a Friday, the other employees that aren't road workers used to work 8-hour days. So they would work 32 hours a week. Is that right? And then
Correct.
they'd have the holiday. So the basically the road workers had already worked 40 hours a week. So that's why we made the change, correct? Now the road or the other workers in the county work 9-hour days. So they are working 36 hours before when a holiday falls on the Friday. So I think the change is to be consistent. You know, if that's why they work or this policy addresses that working that part day on Thursday.
I guess where I have the issue is road guys work a 10-hour shift. We work 9-hour shifts here. So you got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you got 10 hours there. If the holiday falls on a Thursday or Friday, according to our handbook, if you work a 10-hour shift, you get 10 hours of holiday pay. So you take that 10 hours and move it to Thursday, you got your 40 hours. So why does the shop have to be open until noon on Thursday? I can't comprehend that. So if somebody can explain to me I'm wrong, I'd be sure open to listen to it. So,
Any further discussion? We can approve the first reading and then any changes can be, if any changes are made, can be brought up in the second reading. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Approving the first reading does not mean that's what it will be. I think it's time for, I mean, we can have some time for some clarification on this, but
I guess I got a feeling that we, here through the last 5-6 years, we've been trying to keep everybody the same. We got two different jobs that we're looking at, and we're trying to keep the wages the same. We're trying to keep the benefits the same. The road department and the courthouse are two different places. As far as I'm concerned, there should be a handbook and a policy book for the courthouse and one for the road department because, and same with the wages because they're not the same. They're not the same. Our job is on a storm day when they close, they say, well, you don't have to, we're gonna close down the road department, we're gonna close down the courthouse. Well, main reason we got a road department is they have to get out. They've got to be there regardless. I'll use an example. When Mr. Kerr was sick up there and every once in a while they had to run to the hospital. On Saturdays and Sundays, we had somebody on standby that had to go up there with a blade if there was snow to get him out. Because if the ambulance couldn't get in there, it was our fault. So it's a different kind of a deal when our guys, like buses, we got a bus at school and it starts storming and the wind comes blowing up and makes drifts. The blade operators got to be out there moving that snow, get them kids home. And I just feel there's two different departments and we're trying to, with this pay schedule we got and all these policies and stuff, it needs to be two different. It needs to be split up. That's my opinion.
So right now, we just have this policy about the holiday pay before us, so. We approve the first reading, we can have our discussions and look into it further as individual commissioners, and then come back for the second reading. We want to, I guess I feel we need to keep moving forward one way or.
I'm just reading the line underneath it there that takes the sheriff's into account there. Why can't the road operate the same way as the sheriffs do? We're looking at keeping it the same where if it falls on a holiday, they can, if they have to work or whatever, it would just go to the next day or they could use it as a flex hour.
Well, are we favor of approving the first reading or?
Well, I don't think it does you any good to approve a first
Okay.
reading if you're gonna amend it anyway,
Yeah.
because then you gotta
No.
go back to a first reading again
Yeah.
anyway, so. I think this one just
Okay.
goes back to the drawing board for today.
So just so this was, the policy committee had worked on this, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so it's their recommendation. Okay, well, we'll table. That was on the agenda, correct? As a,
Yes, ma'am.
so I guess I would move to table and we can address it at our next meeting. I would look for a motion to.
I make a motion to table it.
There's second.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Heiser, seconded by Commissioner Olson to table the holiday pay schedule policy. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, while we have you here, Desi, just quick, and we probably should have addressed it earlier, but as far as posting the job for road superintendent, I guess I would like a motion. Go ahead.
We had discussion this morning. I think we're just gonna run the way we got it. We're gonna let Mike run. We're gonna see how things play out. Craig and I, or we'll try and, if he's got any question, help, but I personally believe that we should just leave Mike in charge for a while and see how things play out. I don't think we need to post it right now. We just, Mike is totally capable of handling things and I think we've got a good plan in place. We met this morning a little bit and I think that's my feeling, but I'm only one of five.
I don't think we need to just jump into something right away. Take a little time, see how things are.
I guess I feel we should move forward, post the job and those, interested to apply and go ahead with the, and that's typically what we do for all positions. I would like to see it posted and move forward and we can see how that goes. And if the applicants come in and we don't feel they're fit for the job, we continue. But I think the process is to go ahead and post. There's a vacancy right now. We do have our interim, but I think we need to move forward.
I would
Go-
also like
yeah.
to caution, if I could, that this position has been vacant twice in the last 2 years, and getting qualified applicants does take time. It's not something that we would be wanting to interview for in the next week or two. So
No, it
having
takes
that
time.
posting out with the marketing and the pushing and getting it out there so that people are able to know that it's open and to express interest, it
Mhm.
does take time.
How long did you open then?
Generally, for that position, we left it open for 4 weeks.
I guess one of my thoughts is I'd like to see Mike, do this for a while and see if he's capable. He puts in an application and just because somebody's got more schooling and been around longer, he don't get along with people. If Mike gets along with people and getting the job done, I don't know if we have to open the job.
We
can
need,
open it, but
we
you-
need to open it and I guess I would say to that, and this is no offense to Mike or anyone that would step in. So who determines that? Well, I guess it's not going well, we better post it. I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me. And I don't expect that at all with what we got going, but I think we need to post this position. It's vital and we have 40-some employees in that department and
Well, even posting it will probably take us 3 to 4
it's
months.
going to take time. Yeah.
It does take quite a bit of time to get that out there. And from start to finish, you're right, Commissioner Pelton, it could take 2 to 3 months from start to finish.
I'll move that we post the position for road superintendent, advertise for it.
Is there a second? Is there a second? I'll second the motion so we can. Any further discussion?
Madam Chairman,
Yeah.
if I could please address the
Sure,
commission. As your HR director, it is important that we remain consistent in the way we post and recruit and hire for positions. So I would urge you to approve the posting of the road superintendent position.
And I guess I would add, if we don't post it now, when and what is the determining factor of when? And I appreciate, your concerns in that, Mike is in that position now and we see how it goes. But I think even to be fair to Mike, we need to post this and anyone that wants to apply and thinks that they would like to hold that position, we go through that process. And if there is no one that we feel can fill that position, we keep it open till we do. So again, I think consistency is important.
This isn't any different than any other department head position.
yeah.
So if Desi were to resign today, we would post that position and take qualified applicants. So
Mhm.
again, we need to stay consistent with all this.
Yeah. Okay, any other discussion? We'll have roll call vote.
Commissioner Olson,
Yes.
Commissioner Heiser,
No.
Commissioner Pelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Kleeman,
No.
Commissioner Dalzell.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
you. Yep.
And Sally will prepare a resolution for you to sign for the bereavement policy.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is it 10:45? Is Colin here? Or is he going to be online? Oh, okay. Okay, Colin, you're welcome to come up.
Good morning.
Yeah, good
My
morning.
name is Chris Ryan, and I'm President and Chief Operating Officer of GEVO. Colin did us the favor of setting up the meeting.
Oh,
But
okay.
thanks for taking the time. We just wanted to introduce GEVO and our partner 06 today because in the future, there could be some things that we need approval on from the county. And we'd like to give you the background of Gevo so you're aware of that going forward. And we also are excited about our story and want to share it. So I'll let Clay introduce himself. He's from 06 in a minute. But like I said, I'm President and Chief Operating Officer of Gevo. Been with Gevo for 16 years. Before that, I worked for Cargill for 19 years. And then I came from the chemical industry. So I spent the first 48 years of my life in Minnesota, and now I live in Denver for the last 17 years. So what I wanted to do is just step through what we're doing in Richardson. So Gevo bought Red Trail Energy and took it over a little over a year ago now. And we have a lot of growth plans at that site. The one thing we're most excited about is the possibility of making jet fuel at that site from corn through ethanol. And so I'll tell you about that. But first, I just want to let you know that we've got, if you go to the next slide. So we've got 4 businesses in Gevo, all right? We've got a fuels business. Right now we make ethanol, and we have made ethanol in our Minnesota facility for a number of years. But we also make something called isooctane, which is a derivative of an alcohol that's used in Formula One racing. And we're excited about that product. Small volume, but very high value and high visibility. And we've been working on jet fuel production. The common theme on these businesses is that we're very comfortable working directly with farmers and then directly with large brand owners, be it like Coca-Cola when we were a number of years ago, we worked with them, or Delta Airlines, or whoever it is that's buying and using the product at the end of the value chain, and really creating new uses for bio-based products. So that's really what you see as the common theme here. We have a chemicals business where there's some chemicals we're making from basically cornstarch. And then we have a renewable natural gas business where in Northwest Iowa, we have 3 large dairy farms where we've installed digesters that convert the manure from those dairies into biogas. And then we upgrade the biogas to natural gas quality and inject it into a natural gas line owned by Northern Natural Gas, where we book a sale. And so that's been running for coming up on 4 years now. And so again, working with in this case, dairy owners, and it's a great relationship we have. So if you go to the next slide, and I'm going to talk about Verity in a minute. So we're a publicly traded company, and all that means is that you can see all of our numbers publicly. We file with the SEC. This slide just has some of the key numbers. We have over 160 employees. We've got a large engineering team and finance team and basically all the capabilities to do the sorts of projects that I'm talking about. And I assume these slides are available for anybody, so you can go ahead. If you're interested in numbers, you can look at them. For a development company, we're pretty excited about our financials. But we still are a smaller growth company. So the Richardson facility that we bought from Red Trail Energy is a really unique facility from a few perspectives. One, they make ethanol there from corn. The plant does. What's unique about that is they take that CO2 that comes out of the fermenters when they're making ethanol, and they can sequester it underground. 63 has to do that CO2 sequestration there. And the nice thing about that, even though when you build a plant, new plant we're going to be building, cost attribute from the landowners, and you think of like Delta Airlines as one of our customers, where their initial reaction is, I'd love to buy bio-based jet fuel, low carbon jet fuel, but not from corn, because corn's bad. Farming's bad for the environment. We don't want anything to do with that. So we've spent years bringing Delta Airlines and their corporate clients and other people that write policies, bringing them to Laverne, Minnesota, where we owned a small ethanol plant there, to show them, okay, that's where you make ethanol. More important, we took them out to our farm partner, Sean Fikema, and he spent a few hours teaching him how he grows corn. And they walk away enlightened. They have no idea the amount of technology that goes into farming, the precision ag, how little inputs go in relative to history. And so we educate people on, these products are really better for the world and they fit with what you want. Now, the reason we're making, and if you go back, I think a slide or two, but so why jet fuel? Well, there's an increasing demand for jet fuel going way out into the future. If you go to the next slide. So the world needs more jet fuel. There's also a projection that gasoline demand is going to go down. All right. So now, where are you going to get jet fuel? The U.S. already imports jet fuel into the U.S. So we're using other people's fuel. Our story for policymakers is, why don't we use our own domestic resources like corn, make our own fuel, and grow our energy production that way? While we help agriculture, we help the local communities and whatnot. It's a story that plays really well, and it plays well no matter who's in the White House or where we are. It's just a question of which part of that story really resonates more with them. But that's why, at the end of the day, the world needs more jet fuel. It happens that when you make jet fuel, our starting material is corn. Specifically, it's the corn starch. All of the protein and the corn oil gets sold off as a co-product. That corn starch is very cheap. It allows us to make very low cost jet fuel. And it's unique that way because today people make like renewable diesel from vegetable oils. That's really not that cheap because vegetable oils are not cheap. But starch is. It's not that useful an ingredient for like animal feed. You can use other things. So if you go to the next slide. This is a busy slide that just says that our operating cost to make jet fuel is projected to be on par with what the price of petroleum jet fuel is. And that's different than other bio-based jet fuels, or some people talk about making jet fuel from CO2 in the air. That's very expensive. And so we're all about how do you enable this business system where people don't have to spend a whole lot more money than they already are. Go to the next slide. So this is an aerial view of our site in Richardson, and we've got about 500 acres there. We have an existing ethanol plant, we got rail infrastructure, we have a carbon sequestration well there. It's a great site. Off to the left is a schematic of we call it ATJ 30. What that means, it's alcohol to jet, in this case, ethanol to jet, 30 million gallons of jet fuel. So our process is designed to put 50 million gallons of ethanol in, get 30 million gallons of jet fuel out, and it's chemically indistinguishable from petroleum jet fuel. It's the same thing. So that's a schematic that represents our ATJ plant. It's actually been blown up. So what's interesting about our process, we actually licensed in other people's technologies, and we put it all together to create the entire process. So it's not our process that's at the heart of this. But what we've done is we've designed it to be highly modular. So you can build these modules off-site, just like they do for like natural gas processing. You bring them onto your site, you put the modules up, you build a bunch of tanks and other things, and you have yourself a jet fuel plant. We intend to replicate that for others that want to make jet fuel from ethanol. And on the next slide, it just shows that there's about 185 ethanol plants in the U.S. And so that's, in our view, our market for future plants is go roll this out to others. Now, one of the reasons that people are interested in their jet fuel is it's a low carbon jet fuel. So the airlines need to do something about their carbon footprint so that they don't have their customers say, look, I'm going to cut back on my flying because, gee, I have to do something about my carbon footprint. Maybe if you're a big tech company like Apple or Meta or Google, you have that mission to reduce your carbon footprint. Well, the airlines don't want people to cut back on travel. So they want to be able to offer low carbon fuels. And in order to make low carbon jet fuel, like in our site, we start with corn. That's already a low carbon feedstock, and we can prove it. We got the data. And then we need low carbon energy to drive the process. Now, grid energy is not low carbon. So what we do is we look at ways to build energy production behind the meter. So this is why we work with 06. They're a company that develops energy, no matter what type it is, to deploy behind the meter and power a plant like ours, where we'll need an extra 25 megawatts of power. Just to give you a sense of, the NextEra guy was talking about 300 megawatts of wind. Give you a sense of that, we'd need like 25 megawatts. And the cheapest source of low carbon energy, tax credits or no tax credits, doesn't matter, it's wind. And people say, yeah, but it doesn't blow all the time. Right. So you can put these little natural gas engines along with your wind. You're all set up. It's still cheaper. Actually, it can be cheaper than grid power. That's not our favorite technology option, but it's the cheapest. And one of the reasons it's not our favorite is we don't really like being out in the public saying, hey, we want to put up some wind turbines. That generally is not, something that goes over well. Now, when you're behind closed doors with landowners, there's a lot of landowners that would love to host wind turbines and make some extra money. And so that's why I'm here to kind of address you all, is to kind of set the stage, and I'll let Clay take it from here.
Hi, thank you, commissioners, for allowing us to speak today. My name is Clay Norbaum. I'm the president of 06 Energy. If you don't mind, maybe 2 slides forward. Yes. Joining with me is my colleague on my team, Colin Schuler. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I forgot to. Sorry, Greg, but my colleague, Greg Hanselman, is Vice President of Operations and Engineering. So, right here.
So 06 Energy, as it says on the slide, GEVO's energy partner. We've worked closely with GEVO for almost 10 years. Wherever GEVO is building out, as Chris said, the goal is really to have low carbon energy that works with their facilities. A little bit about us: we're a Minnesota-based company. We work across, generally across kind of the 10-state upper Midwest. A lot of work in the Dakotas over the years. We've been around for over 30 years. We privately owned company. We've got a large engineering team, about 60 employees, so a little bit smaller than GEVO. But if you don't mind going to the next slide. I would describe us as an all of the above energy company. We've, originally 30 years ago, we started as a wind development company. Over the years, we've expanded to work kind of across almost all electricity generating technologies. So in some shape or form, I've got members of my team that are working on electrical engineering for nuclear plants right now, that we do a lot of work designing and building natural gas fire generation. We own 16 small hydroelectric dams. We still do a lot of wind, still do a lot of solar. So again, we're by our nature, we're all of the above. We're always trying to find, as you see on the slide here, we do a lot of work with ethanol plants, with biodiesel plants like GEVO and others. And we're always trying to find what is the right fit for that facility, for that customer, and for what the customer is looking for. Many of the ethanol or biodiesel or jet fuel producers like GEVO, as Chris said, have a carbon score that their customers are willing to pay for, that the market's willing to pay for. And so again, we're trying to use what are the local natural resources around that plant that can support that end goal, cost and carbon score. So that's kind of one thing. Second, by our nature, we work with a partner with GEVO to, in many cases, develop the project, come up with what are the best potential projects, engineer it, build it, own it, and operate it across time. And so by our mentality means that I'd like to describe that, I guess you don't mind just staying on that slide for a second, that we're fundamentally kind of cooks that eat our own food. We're looking to be at a location for the long term. We're looking to be, we think the Red Trail facility, in this case, the GEVO North Dakota facility in Richardson, We think it will be there for generations. Anything that we build to be part of that, we want to own and operate, again, for generations alongside of it. So it's kind of part of the mentality of who we are. As I say, when we look at all of the above, it's trying to fit the resources to the location. In the case of somewhere like Richardson, and as we look at the border between Stark County and Dunn County here, it's an area that's blessed with a lot of natural resources. You've got obviously abundant local natural gas that can supply there, as Chris described, a very unique situation where they can sequester CO2 on site. And as we all know, walking around here, there is ample and plenty wind around. So the building blocks are there to have a lot of different options. And again, we continue to explore different options with GEVO. We always, as GEVO has the plans, as you say, Chris, kind of to build out jet production, other expansions, billions of dollars, billion-dollar kind of size, we're trying to have the most options on the table as possible. When you're going into trying to do that kind of development, we don't want to kind of tie one arm behind our back as we go into the different options. So we've kind of looked across, as Chris said, wind is one of the options that we've been working on. It is one of the lowest cost to provide. And so that is part of the reason for being here. In addition to the GEVO plant in Richardson buying corn, of course, it crosses the county border, that overall economic development that comes with that facility. We have also been speaking to landowners in the southeast portion of Dunn County, that kind of border next to Stark County, and have a number of landowners that are signed up in interest to develop wind if we choose to go forward in terms of to supply the jet fuel facility there. So, that's the process that we're in. Unlike a NextEra or some other developers, we're not kind of looking at just a general map and saying, where is there wind and where is the interconnection? We are working with a partner like GEVO. So what that means is, one, we don't kind of have the option to just go anywhere. We need to get the electricity back to the GEVO facility. So in practicality, that means we've got about a 15-mile distance that we can be from their plant. That does happen to take us into Dunn County. And so that means that when we look at options, that's part of the reason why we've been working with landowners up in Dunn County. And the other thing is that we don't size our facilities kind of randomly. We size what we're trying to build in order to supply what's needed for the plant. Kind of ideally, no more, no less. It's what's the electricity that would be required for the plant. So that's kind of what leads us to where we are. Just have a slide here. I know that the county, Dunn County, yourselves, the commission is contemplating or is in the process of going through some ordinance changes as it relates to wind. I guess I just want to leave a couple of quick comments. As we go about things, like I say, with the GEVO is going to be a neighbor in the community for a long time. Anything we do there has to be in the same nature. And so through that, we really pride ourselves in our development of kind of operating by the golden rule. We really want to find a neighborhood, a series of landowners that really want to work with us. And if they don't want to, we really don't want to cause commotion in the community. We want to go find where within that 15-mile radius can we find enough people that want to work with us and go there. So that's kind of the main point. And we really go out of our way to minimize impact to houses. It's just a development philosophy. Like I said, we want to operate golden rule as if we live in that area, and what's the most important to us if we live there. Again, in my mind and our mindset, it's always been what's the way to minimize the impact to somebody in their actual house. And so just the representations on the slide here are just tools that, whether it's us or other developers like NextEra, others certainly use the same kind of tools. How do we look at minimizing and eliminating any sound impact in people's homes, shadow flicker impact, those kinds of impacts? That's what we want to always try to cite and reduce, eliminate in essence. And so I guess I would just leave that with you as it relates to, as you think about the ordinance. We are very sympathetic to that. We wouldn't cite where we're going to impact people's homes anyways. So whatever you do to make that harder, we're with you. We're going to do that anyways. Whether you make us, we're going to do it anyways. The one thing that I would leave with you is we kind of on the bottom there, we call it balanced framework. One thing is you think about ordinance changes. Sometimes we've seen some ordinances where the setback, not just to residences, but the setback to property lines becomes relatively long. And we think that that sometimes can have actually adverse consequences that kind of unintended consequences. And it starts to be kind of a landowner rights and kind of who gets to veto whose development. And in that way, it ends up being where, in many cases, kind of landowners who either don't live in the county, who are not residences, maybe don't even live in the state, end up having a veto over the residents of your county who may want to move forward with the project. So it would just be the one thought to leave with you, that is you have setbacks to property lines instead of just setbacks to residences. That sometimes, like I said, it can end up with unintended consequences if it's, not just your residents, but kind of people from outside of the county that end up having more influence over development in your county. I guess I'll pause and open it up if any of the commissioners have any questions for either of us.
Any questions?
Red Trail, how many gallons are they producing a day? It's just ethanol, it's no jet fuel yet, correct?
There's no jet fuel. So it's about 70 million gallons a year. Divided by 365, whatever that is.
That's a lot of corn.
But we're the jet fuel plant, we're engineering right now. And our goal is to get it financed by the end of the year. So that kind of a project, like we don't have enough money to do that. We get investors. And then it would take us about 2 years or 2 to 3 years to get it built out. So our goal is to get it financed by the end of this year. And if we do that, then startup could be end of 2029, just to give you a sense.
Thank you.
It would be that, by the way, the first in the world commercial corn to jet fuel plant.
Interesting.
Famous.
Yeah.
Gosh, thank you for coming in.
Thanks.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate
Thank you.
hearing about this. Thank you.
You got a card or anything you? Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. we should.
Oh, here. Your email. It's a little bit
Are
better.
you
like that.
local? Anybody here local guys or not? Okay.
Hey, thing we have on the agenda is the financial report. Sally?
Right, so for ending balances for February, our Bravera Bank ended with 17 million. First International Money Market, that's growing nicely. We started out at 15 million. So within, I think, probably 8 months, we're up to $7,747 worth of interest. So that's good. 774,000.
Yeah.
I'm tripping over that today. And then our DDM account is up to 44.6 million, so that's good. We lowered a couple of our CDs because the DDM and the money market actually have better interest rates, so we're down to 36 with that. So we ended the month of February with 116 million. And then for oil and gas, we're pretty much right on track. With some of the unfortunate events going on in the world right now, it looks like our gas is going to be bumped up a little bit again for a little while. So But we did get 2 million in February. So 2.4 January, 2 million February. I'm expecting April and May to be much higher. Guys have any questions on that?
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kleeman, seconded by Commissioner Olson to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Meeting adjourned at 11:04.